Our next speaker, we met this morning at one of the breakout areas, and he pronounced his name, and it's Raja Gangavarapu. I hope I didn't murder it too much, but I spoke with him as a result of the fact that I saw him speaking at another virtual conference. And it was, really his description of bringing together ERP and CRM, data lakes, API, ETL, into a universal ID customer hub. It was incredibly intriguing. And as a VP of Information Systems and former CTO, Raja has brought a data transformation perspective that is without knowledge graph implementation. So although Wolters Kluwer leverages graphs in other domains, I believe that this would be a good story to hear because it can be done. And some of these issues, you don't need to have all of that scalability factors. And as Dave said, sometimes it's just harder to get there, but there are ways to do that. So please take on the virtual microphone there, Raja, and explain more.
This is my first time in this forum, and thanks for the invitation, Steve, and some nice words at the beginning. And you got very close to my last name. So usually the U trips the people as they finish that. So I'll take it. It's pretty good. All right. So hopefully everybody is enjoying this session, and there's a lot of discussion about graphs and various technologies in the data world, and it is pretty enormous, I understand. Okay, so what, again, as Steve said, I'm Raja Gangavarapu, Vice President of Technology. I have a lot of responsibilities, but data and information systems and business intelligence is very close to my heart because data runs the organizations. It's as simple as that. So in that context, I'd like to share with you the journey we have taken in one business unit and how did we accomplish data-driven digital transformation. So the success of digital-led or a digital transformation hinges on understanding the customer and personalizing the solution based on customer needs, right? Having right and quality customer data is a quintessential component of digital strategy. And many organizations face a slew of data-related challenges due to, say, legacy processes, legacy systems, and poorly integrated systems, and sometimes incorrectly executed mergers and acquisitions because they come and go. Sometimes time forces them to speed things up. So to overcome the gaps, a systemic and disciplined data-centric approach is needed for significantly be improved. So the approach should include customer-centric architecture, value-driven data governance for accuracy, and real-time end-to-end integration for data democratization. So let's dive in. So you all can see my presentation, right? It should be a white blank screen. Okay. All right. So first we'll do is just walk through the agenda of the presentation. So let's structure the story, what I'm going to talk about. So first, we'll look at our business challenges and what we faced and what we tried to solve them. And I have spoke to my peers in the industry, and they shared similar challenges they have faced in their business areas. So hopefully it connects with all of you. And then how did we solve them? And we used the tenets of digital transformation, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll talk about customer. Again, we established the fact the customer is very important for digital strategy, digital footprint, and the data foundation we created to accomplish such a goal. And then we'll talk about user interaction and the overall process flows, and I'll explain as we get to it why it is pretty important to the overall storyline. And then we'll take a look at the architecture we put in place, and I'm not going to give you all the details, and it gives probably 10 more sessions like this to walk through all the architecture and the system environment, but we'll just I'll walk through a little bit about what we have done to accomplish such a goal. And then we'll finally end with the actions and what all the actions we took in the summary view of it, and the results that are followed as part of these actions. Okay, all right, so let's go into talk about number one agenda item. The business challenges and problems to solve and the need for new capability. So we started the journey with the business as accomplished to solve the problems. It's just not only solving the problems, right? You need to go and establish capabilities. Some could be modifying the existing capabilities. Some are bringing new capabilities to the overall equation. So you're not only just solving it, but creating this futuristic solution, right? You're not always solving something, but you're really preventing something to happen too. So our goal number one, not a surprise, right? Customer 360 view we want to create. And now all of you, the organization you work for, and you are really going after this particular goal, right? And again, the customer 360, there are some definitions that are going out there, but really the key summary aspect of customer 360 is how a customer is doing business with your organization, how you can really look at the overall engagement of a particular customer with your organization. Can you create that? Okay, you are there, right? So that's what we're trying to accomplish, not necessarily for entire Wolters Kluwer, but it is one business unit. Okay, let's go and solve for this business unit. So we look through how we can get to, okay, we need to get the right customer records, customer data to create that. And then we need to have a governance across the life cycle of the customer record. Okay, good start. Then we have faced some challenges. What are the challenges? Now, business need for multiple customers identities in different systems led to duplicate and incorrect customer information. So now each business unit or within the business unit, different functional groups started creating, okay, I need to solve this problem. I need to solve this problem. And then they went after create the requirements and build these applications correctly, nicely, well, and solve that particular problem. But what actually happened in that process is we created data in each application, right? Even though you may have a good enterprise architecture, good view, but you ended up creating the data. And then they are capturing customer information perhaps, but they're capturing it differently. That led to inconsistent customer view. And what are the reasons? And this could be due to inconsistent customer experience. And let me bring up my other view here so that I can see. Okay, all right, that's good. So inconsistent customer experience, during the design and the requirements. And again, each area focused within their specific functionality, what they want to build. And in the process, customer need to be created this way. Well, works for that area, but in different area, they adopted a slightly different way, and customers created slightly different. So we ended up having a different customer personas. And then longer duration of customer sync between multiple systems. Now it's like, okay, I want to create the customer hub or customer domain. Okay, fine. Now you start bringing all the data, and then it takes time to bring all of the data, right? First you need to design and bring it all together. And the disconnected systems and inaccurate data sync. Sometimes it's not easy to bring the data together. And then duplicate customer information in CRM, ERP, and analytical systems, or all your other applications which are capturing the data. Because customer in ERP, okay, you got a customer called in, okay, you need to create an order, you need to serve the customer, they're trying to do business with you. And the similar customer may be captured in the CRM system. So you ended up having a similar customer data in two different systems. And the legacy and outdated business processes, you always say the evolution leaves something behind and you're stuck with the process. Now, goal number 2, and we want to have this perfect customer experience. Now, that's a very broad way of defining, right? So we try to define what is our perfect customer experience. We want to make sure the overall billing and invoicing and overall payment experience should be smooth, accurate, and close to even real time. We need to get paid as soon as the service is rendered, and customers want to pay as soon as the service is consumed. And then seamless experience. When a customer deals with an organization, with their business unit or business units, they need to have a consistent experience. They need to see similar or same information wherever they go, whoever they call, customer service, or any devices or any channels we put information out there. And then self-servicing capability. Like customer want to call in and they don't want to talk to a person to the business as much as possible. Digital experience pushing every organization to put in front of the customer. so they can consume and conduct a business with us. And what are the challenges? Well, lack of controls and erroneous data integration between systems. Okay. Sometimes the speed makes things worse. You create a business, you created a function or application, and then you speed to the market drives you to create the application which serve the purpose, but sometimes that results in some erroneous controls, or as you put integration in, correct integration between, you want to push with other data. These are possible. That's what happened to us. And inconsistent data validation and our lack of governance. And the reasons I just explained, data exists in multiple systems. Lack of clarity and inconsistent business logic between the systems. Siloed data processing. Legacy and inherited processes, right? We all know it's very difficult to change business or technology from one process to the other improved process, correct? And the missing agility to adapt to customer needs. Customer needs are changing faster than you want to deal with sometimes, but you need to cope up with that. That some systems will pull you back, lack of having data at the right place will pull you back. Right, these are the goals and these are the challenges, and these are the reasons that led to those particular challenges. So, all right, then let's look at how we solved it. Because this is a journey, so I wouldn't claim that we solved it. I mean, we solved the key pieces, and as things evolve, we want to continuously be attending those functions before they become a problem. Well, we use the core tenets of digital transformation, and what those are. Obviously, the first to go is the data. So what we did, we made sure we created that data stewardship by business, made the business, okay, here you go, you're the owner of the data anyway. Make sure you drive your data correctly. You make decisions, in the right way. And then we made sure processing-wise data is cleansed, cleaned, updated, correct, and the creation of a master data. And we use the master data management, and that anybody can use a different technique how to get to create the consistent, the golden record or a master data record. And then efficient customer setup itself. Well, make sure at the beginning itself, when the customer is set up in any of the system, A, process is consistent, B, you have a right way to set up the customer setup. So don't create the problem even to begin with, right? Focus on preventing the problem at the source itself. And then governance through standards. We establish governance. The standards are created. It's owned by business. Sometimes the technology plays into that, but fundamentally driven by the business in terms of making standards defined and implemented. And of course, technology makes sure our BI specialists, our architects, and will make sure they implement the standards as we implemented the solution. And the rules and the validations of processing, we confirmed at the beginning itself and made sure they're implemented consistently. And then data democratization. People want the data, and how we can democratize the data, how downstream other people can consume the data for various other purposes. I know a lot of speakers spoke about AI and machine learning, how they did. Similar for us. And then everybody wants to grab the data, right? So we created a mechanism. This is where the journey is, and we're constantly evolving at it. But I think we got first few important steps. And then look at how data is processed and maintained, which is technology. And then right enterprise architecture. It's very important, and a lot of organizations get to it slightly differently, but whatever mechanism you put in, make sure you have enterprise architecture, which basically tells you what is your current state. Make sure you grabbed all the applications that play in the domain, and you have a future state architecture in mind as you take the journey. And then latest technology and components, and replace legacy systems. And this is really one of the very difficult challenges we have faced, tried to solve, and I know that these are the challenges out there everywhere. And it is very difficult to execute as well. It not only costs money, effort, and all. You need to have ultimate discipline and ability to execute them. Otherwise, you'll miss the goal and you end up burning a lot of money. And then try to do real-time integration. we are slowly moving, or maybe fast moving, into not having that batch process going over day, overnight rather, on the weekends or once in a month. The massive data processing, data is consumed in a real-time process, right? And cloud is everywhere today. Everybody's moving towards a cloud. Make sure the cloud strategy is there. The importance of cloud in this data context is it brings few more actions that one need to have. One particularly is the security, right? Which is the next point I want to talk to. And there are a lot of compliancy out there. The GDPR, California Privacy Act. Every country is instituting their own privacy rules around customer data. So they go hand in hand. And then monitoring and effective operational support. Now, how data is managed through, right? Which brings the process into the play. And then objective alignment with the required customer experience. It's always easy to think, I want to have a perfect customer experience, but defining very clearly what you want to solve, how your customer experience. If it is a billing problem, if it is a pure customer service problem, and the long customer time it takes when the customer calling, or identifying a customer itself when a customer calls in or want to do business, one need to have a very clear objective what that customer experience should look like. That's what we focus on automation. Now, this is not technology talking. This is a business talking with the technology. We focused on process automation as much as possible and look at end-to-end processes and clear expected outcomes and process validation, except handling. And this area under process, and if you look at it under technology, they go hand in hand. And in my opinion, this is one of the things we put a lot of effort and focus on, and produced valuable results, because you prevented problems, and also even when the problem happens, you have the ability to go and act on very, very quickly. Data is everywhere, right? You need to make sure your accuracy is maintained and validated. And then the organization that consumes this data, right? And then, and I said this, I saw this particular comment in a Harvard Business article recently: digital transformation is business transformation. That struck me like, wow, this is what we did in a sense, in this particular business unit, and other business units are trying to emulate that. So, and then the communication, we know this is so important, and we established a methodology how we're going to communicate across. Lead the change with clear mandate, and we have a mandate from our executives, and this is what we need to do, because you're changing your architecture, you're changing your business processes, and then fundamentally creating a new capability how to manage, get your handle around data. And then continue sharing of results. And this is what we did, because as people use the data in different areas and got used to, hey, this is how I'm consuming the data, as we brought the people together, as we're building this capability, we never stopped them to consume the data. But what we told them is, in this new world that they're going to be in, and the consumption of the data is going to be different, more disciplined, with the right lineage properly established in place, and so that everybody plays into that. And constantly we showed the results, the improvements, reduced data errors, as an example. Okay, those are the components we put in place to solve, and it is a journey. We are still, continuously churning through, making sure we don't lose sight of it. All right, you probably have seen this quote from Mark Benioff, the chairman and co-CEO of Salesforce. Every digital transformation is going to begin and end with the customer. And he said, that's every CEO is talking. And I can tell you, probably you can vouch for this too. Not only CEOs talking, it is a lower level executives and lower, people below are all talking about it. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll walk you through some of the data models and data foundation we created to accomplish this customer golden record. Okay. So what did we do? We created Customer Hub. Well, not a surprise. And we used master data management technique, and we used standard tools from the industry. And this presentation is not about what tool we used. This is about capability we built. And the characteristics of this Customer Hub are continuous cleansing of the data, address scrubbing, address validation, name validation, email conformance to our standards, and standardization, how the rules need to be maintained for all these data points. and then match and merge. Our customer is the companies we deal with, and the companies have their subsidiaries all over America and globally. So we need to have a right hierarchy, a right relationship, and the match and merge is a technique we use in MDM, how to bring the relationship between those parent to the child relationship. And we created the universal ID to the golden record. So that's a universal ID is kind of pushed to all the systems, and data stewardship and survivorship rules. And we made sure what data need to survive, what data shouldn't survive, because you don't want to proliferate the data continuously in your customer hub. It becomes processing very difficult. But at the same time, we just start archiving the data for the relationship no longer existed, and all the reference data, the tables that we have to have within the customer hub. So that became the central piece. And then the key players in this ecosystem, and ERPs, our CRM system. And again, I'm not trying to use what we used because it could be anyone from your standpoint, and this is the same principle place. And we have multiple ERP systems, and we try to consolidate ERP systems so that, I thought this generalizing it would be a little bit more useful and helpful for the presentation. Okay, so ERP system, there's the CRM, and we have one core application where we maintain the different the persona of the customer. And we have nearly 15 plus application and customer facing products participated in this sharing of the data across. And I don't want to make it very busy and complicated, but just want to show some key application systems that participated in this. All right, and then one external system we try to bring in Dun & Bradstreet data, because as I said, our customer is in the companies we serve. And so we try to get Dun & Bradstreet data to enrich the customer data. Now, these are the key applications besides all the 15 plus important application participate. What did we do exactly here that's rather perhaps unique? What we did was we created a real-time bi-directional flow between our customer hub with ERP and CRM. And this is where the process changes came into the play. So before that, when a customer comes in, call the customer service, hey, I want to buy a product. And they just come to our ERP system, or data is passed on to a team of people who set the data up, and they take the piece of the data and they go into the system and they just insert the data. No validation. So data get created. Sometimes system don't give an error because the data they try to insert may have a slightly different name, or there's a full stop there, or a small letter change there. So system takes it. It finds it as a new record. Okay. So in this, that what led to the proliferation of our data, duplicate data, and all, same as CRM system. So what did we do here? After we created the customer hub, made the MDM process, we modified our business processes. We train the customers, our users rather, how to use a system. If somebody calls in, if they are either on CRM or an ERP system, once they are on, system makes a real-time call into our customer hub and says, hey, is the customer exists? System looks at it. Oh yeah, by the way, this customer exists, and also is not only customer. There is other data that's related to this customer. Here you go, CRM or ERP system. Now the user has abundance of data about this customer. Not only that they can serve the customer very well, but now all the information about the customer in front of them, right? And they can do a lot with it. And now it also prevented creating a duplicate data, right? So that's what we did. After we created this MDM, created MDM hub or customer hub, we created a real-time integrations with all the systems. So no duplication of data anymore, but all the enriched data present in front of that to serve the customer very well. If a payment is missing, right there, we can tell the customer, okay, this is, oh, by the way, did you call us to make a payment? Right? It's a much more engaging customer discussion. Also, what did we do? We sent our ERP data to Dun & Bradstreet, added the Dun's IDs numbers to our ERP data, and send the data to customer hub. Now I have my Dun's ID and Dun & Bradstreet data, and now I know about the customer, a lot more about this customer or about this organization that I'm dealing with. And now there could be some cross-sell opportunities because I know the subsidiaries that we already do business with. At the same time, what also we did is we don't want to complicate our customer hub too much, because this is the relationship with our customers maybe is so complicated. We realized, okay, we got good customer hub, good data, cleansed data, right relationship. We remove a lot of dupes and data is accurate. So we don't want to complicate any further. And so what did we do is some of the other complicated data about our customer. Before I go there, these are the key elements of our MDM construct, a golden record. Golden master record is the ID, and then we standardize the name, the address, and look at the reference data fields we maintain, and we also maintain a couple of KPIs based on the mailability score. And 0 means don't mail, 5 means perfect address. Some of the main information we maintain is on golden record, and this is became the foundation, data foundation in customer hub, and that is the data kept moved and carried on into ERP system, CRM system, or all other 15 plus applications I just mentioned. Okay, along with the application I mentioned here. So once we established that golden record, so what did we do was, okay, not to complicate our overall matching process any further. So we create this data lake and push the data. And then we start moving the data all into the data lake. Now I have a very enriched data lake, which actually gives me a much more stronger foundation. Okay, all right. So let's quickly go into user interaction and end-to-end process flow. So ERP and CRM system, dealing with your customer hub, and then we create the data lake where data got pushed in the data lake, and different customer service, the services we wrote for data consolidation, presentation layer, different business groups, their choice of data presentation layer, and we let them, and this is whether we kicked in the data democratization process, they consumed the data out, or we provided the reporting capability on top. And as I said, this is how our users interact with the customer hub, data stewards on the business side, and user search is conducted on the systems. And then, we push the data into AI machine learning platform, and some of the speakers presented about AI machine learning capability wonderfully. And all this world looked very much similar to some of the presentations that was made. And again, a little bit of information, what I just mentioned here, try to put. One factor we put at the bottom, that unique customer identity. We created a unique ID for an external customer. As they come in, we can recognize a customer. And we implement part of it. This is a journey we are taking. We continuously bringing in more customer identity across Wolters Kluwer. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. All right, a little bit of architecture and system environment. And again, as I said, I'm not going to complicate this view with so much of components, but essentially we create this middle service layer, API and ETL layer, which actually brings the data all together across all the systems. And then, different rendering tool, Power BI, Tableau, SAP BobJ, pick your choice. And then what did we do? Real-time search into customer hub, reverse duplication, and then redefine and modernize business processes and orchestration. Bidirectional feed keeps data up to date across all the source systems. And from a system standpoint, environment standpoint, we are in a multi-cloud. Data moves across all the cloud, and some of the tools are SaaS-based. So data is really flowing across multiple clouds. And then data, make sure is encrypted, data in flight and in rest. And logging and monitoring across as the data moves all around. And then security framework, as I said, you need to comply to all the compliance and audit requirements that are out there. Okay, all right. So quickly, my last slide, talk about actions and results that we achieved. So real-time customer validation, and while adding and updating customer information and prevention of duplicate data at the time of customer creation. Focus on first-time call resolution with accurate and up-to-date customer information. Redefine and redesign business processes and standardize orchestration workflow. Through real-time integration, data of cleansed and massaged data that presented through self-service channels and unique customer identity throughout the organization. Now the customer 360 is almost there, right? The same data, similar data is presented to all the channels. Curated data and analytical system through data governance, lineage, and stewardship. System modernization through enterprise and integration architecture. Audit and compliance through data classification. Data classification is becoming a bigger and bigger need for compliancy. And consistent adoption of standard security framework across the systems. All right, just look at some of the results that we had achieved. An increase in customer satisfaction, stickiness, improved NPS and other customer satisfaction metrics, accurate on-time payment, billing experience, enhanced customer experience with self-service channels, portals providing relevant and accurate information, and personalized. Improvements of on-time resolution of customer problems due to customer 360 views, and consistent data available for all the systems and through multiple digital channels. Increased upsell and cross-sell opportunities due to availability of real-time customer and organization affiliation. I don't have any data really how much we have accomplished in this, but definitely, we have seen some improvements in these spaces for sure. Great foundation for AI and machine learning based approaches and new business opportunities. We did created new business opportunities using the data and created a lot of AI machine learning architecture, which part of my other team supports today. Enhanced employee satisfaction. The people who are taking these calls don't need to face the burnt of not having information, right? Easy customer, you have everything, customer is informed, validated, and off they go. And guaranteed compliance to GDPR, HIPAA, California Privacy Act, and you want to go SOC 2 or SOC 1 controls, and you can achieve all of it. And the last one, relatively less difficulty, as you migrate to different ERP systems. It's important for us because we are in the process of ERP consolidation, and by this process and our ERP migration goes somewhat less difficult, because at the end of the day, this is where data get messed up as you move the data from one ERP to the other ERP system, as an example. Okay, that pretty much it what I want to present today. I'm open for questions. I see it. What would be your say was the biggest obstacle you faced? Execution. We faced a lot of problem executing creating the right MDM solution, bringing everybody together. That is the biggest obstacle, and is not a lot of talent out there in the industry. And so whatever you can get, make sure you do it right. And fortunately, I mean, is the word fortunate because we came through very well without burning a lot of budget, a lot of money, and came on time. Great team effort really from our team, but that's the biggest challenge we faced.
Going to bring Steve on here. I think he's got a question.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, thanks so much, Raja. Hey, we spoke a little bit about kind of those barriers as well, and those detractors, and the business is certainly going to want to see results almost immediately and some of those things. Can you just talk through a little bit more as to how that relationship grew during this period and how you were able to demonstrate some small successes along the way?
I'm glad you remember that, Steve. It's first was a lofty goal, right? They did a lot of surveys. They brought a lot of fantastic information, right? A lot of problems. I mean, actually, sometimes it starts great, but really creating a solution as you write requirements, as you detail out and where your data is, and as you bring the data, and you make good progress, and then you suddenly see incorrect results. But this is such a new capability. Yeah, right. An MDM golden record and having the data real time and all. And some of the our discussions with outside industry and even with the tool vendor is whoever they recommended, we ended up talking. Nobody did real time. They're all batch oriented. Created this nice customer hub or consumer hub and put your name on it, and they moved the data overnight or weekend. That's what they were doing. That may not get what you want to get to. Right? You may have right data in all the places. So as we started doing it, a lot of challenges, came to us, like our business asking, "Hey, is it a good thing?" And I talked to this group, and they said, "Better do this first and then there." But we stayed on the course, even though I faced slew of questions and challenges. saying that this may not work, and we're not on the right direction. We stayed on the course, and that's where the first part of the question I answered. That's execution. It's a challenge, and the results are sharing the results. And what we did was we did not come back after 3 weeks. Oh, here you go, kind of. We almost gave a daily or alternative day updates, and that eased them into it, because you make good progress a couple of days and then you run into a major problem. But when we said that we have a problem, they were like, okay, all right, I see there's a progress, like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, kind of. And after some point, everybody got into the groove and everybody saw the solution coming through, and real-time integrators start working and start seeing that results, and things went a lot more smooth. But the middle process lasted more than a year.
Very good. Very good. And what moving forward, what are the plans moving forward at this point?
Oh, we are looking at this particular business unit is looking at some ERP consolidation, and that's where we're looking at kind of modifying the solution, because when you have a solution that really works for you, adapting into a different construct is not easy either. So we are in their journey, but we're also seeing some interest from other business units who want to adapt, not necessarily same, but a similar way of bringing discipline and, of course, digital transformation in their areas.
Terrific. Well, thank you again, Raja, and stay with us all the way till tomorrow if you'd like.